It's the original Eminent Sports Broadcasting. I'm your host, Classic, and we back again, my friends. We are here to discuss this topic of Natasha Jonas and Mikaela. It's a fight that took place about 2 weeks ago. Disclosure: it's a fight that I had a little bit of coin on, so you might say that my opinion is a little biased. I disagree. But before we get into the topic at hand, let's rock out.
I told you about 3 times that won't fucking with me, right? Umbrella. I'ma run it up and up and up. 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 Big brella grind until I build it up. Shawty private purpose like it's Eminem. Sliding through your city, you gon' live and learn. She gon' let me fuck cause I'm a living legend.
Yeah. Eminent Sports Broadcasting, man. It's Classic here. And we're here to talk. Shades on. It's late. And I'm in serious need of sleep, but I didn't want this one to elude me anymore. I needed to talk about this one, man. And I've been looking at a lot of people's opinions, and it seems like the opinions on the other side, over there in the UK, nothing to see here. This was a fair and just decision for Natasha Jonas. And Mikaela didn't do enough to win this fight. Boy. And I'm not trying to call him out on the BS. I'm not trying to say that they believe that it was a robbery, because I do wholeheartedly believe that in their hearts and what they see or what they saw and what they want to believe over there in Liverpool, England, is that Natasha Jonas really won that fight. Nothing could be more further than the truth. Because that is absolutely preposterous. Now, we here in the States, let's say this fight was to take place right here in the States. Let's say it took place in Mikaela's hometown. What do I think would have happened? She would have got the victory. Because even on Natasha Jonas's home turf, she should have gotten the victory. And she did not. Now both ladies are sporting a record. Natasha Jonas has a record of 15-2-1 with 9 KOs and 1 stoppage loss. Mikaela is sporting a record of 19-2 with only 5 KOs. And I was gathering different people's opinions. It seems heavily, especially on the television side of broadcasters and pundits, they were skewing definitely towards Natasha Jonas. Whereas I listened to a few podcasts, even podcasts from the UK side. They were leaning more towards Mikaela, but they were saying that it was such a close fight. Oh my God. This fight was such a close fight that Neither side can complain. I've heard dudes talking about changing the criteria of how we score fights. How about we not do that? How about we just score the fight the way that we see it? Take your emotion out of it. Take your emotion out of it. Is that so difficult to ask? Why do people, if they have money involved or if they have one of their favorite fighters involved, they seem to be unable to take their emotion out of it? Not that difficult. Not that difficult at all, in my opinion. You had one fighter pressing the action. You had another fighter that was exhausted, backpedaling. Yes, she was hitting Mikaela Mayer with clean shots. No one's saying that she wasn't. It was a competitive fight. But it should not have been a hard fight to score on a round-by-round basis. Take the crowd out of the equation. You should not let something like that persuade you whatsoever if you're focused on the action. Now, I scored the fight 93-97. 93-97. 7 rounds to 3. 2-minute rounds in women's boxing, unless they request for a 3-minute round, and it seems like the only sanctioning body that's not rocking with that at this current stage is the WBC. So this was 10 rounds, 2 minutes. And Mikaela Mayer pressed for the majority of the fight. Natasha Jonas was backpedaling. She looked good early. She looked good in a couple instances in the middle of the fight. Mikaela Mayer didn't really show defensive prowess by any stretch of the imagination. So we're not going to sugarcoat it, make it seem like Jonas wasn't capable and she wasn't getting her rocks off, because she was. She was touching her. But my brother, my sisters, she was not touching her nearly enough to win the fight. Mikaela Mayer outlanded her. I don't even need to look at the stats. I don't need to look at any CompuBox computation of the fight. How many shots were landed to the body. I don't need to look at that. My brain can compute what I'm seeing. You feel me? Mikaela Mayer was the aggressor. Mikaela Mayer landed more shots. Mikaela Mayer wasn't exhausted. And Mikaela Mayer won the championship rounds. Ladies and gentlemen, we here at Eminent Sports Broadcasting, man, we talk about sports. We cover the sports, man. And this is, I think this is my first female fight that I'm covering. And I'm going to pull up my scorecard. First round I gave to Jonas. Let me bring back up this overlay for this fight. So let's get back to it. First round I gave to Jonas. Wasn't that hard to score that round whatsoever. I think there was one round All right, I didn't indicate on my scorecard which round it was that was very, very close, right? But there was one round, in my opinion, that was a very, very tightrope of a round. But I still gave that one to Mayer. And I'm not biased. I didn't care who won the fight. I mean, of course, I wanted Mayer to win because I had money on it. But in my contemplation of putting money on Mayer, I knew that there was a risk involved. I knew the risk putting money on Mayer fighting Natasha Jonas in Liverpool, in her hometown, was that she was going to get screwed over, right? And that's exactly what I felt like happened. So, first round I gave Jonas 10, Mayer 9. Second round I gave to Mayer. Third round I gave to Mayer. Fourth round I gave to Mayer. Fifth round I gave to Jonas. Sixth to Jonas. Seventh to Mayer. Eighth to Mayer. Ninth to Mayer. 10th to Mayer. Ending with a score of 97-93. And you know what the funny thing is? Mikaela Mayer lost, in my opinion, to this very same score when she fought Alicia Baumgardner. I scored that fight 97-93 for Baumgardner. Now, the problem with boxing is we are using too many different criterias when we feel like it. When we feel like it, we are using this criteria because it suits the fight that I'm watching at the moment. No. That shit needs to stop, son. Who is landing the more visually stimulating, bone-crushing, heartbreaking shots? 1. 2. Who's landing more shots? Right? So, I don't believe that if you land 3 pity-pat jabs that you should get the nod over someone that cracks you with a hard shot. But if you're clearly, in this case, Mayer was throwing the harder shots, the more accurate shots, and was also the aggressor, and she didn't get the benefit of the doubt. So in any possible circumstance that you could use where you could say Jonas won the fight, she was not the clear frontrunner in any of these circumstances. She was backpedaling. She wasn't necessarily using her distance effectively, right? Her counterpuncher was decent, but it wasn't great. She was the one holding at every moment. She is the older fighter, right? 39 years old to Mikaela Mayer, I think. Her age is 20. Give me 1 second. Let me double check that. Let me check on her age real quick, so I'm not spewing rubbish. Because a lot of people, they like to spew rubbish. Sorry. 33. Where'd I get 20s from, right? The fuck am I talking about? I think it's the whiskey. But anyways, 33 years old to 39 years old. I wonder who's going to have the energy. Which was a big part of me placing my bet on Mayer. She has a big promoter backing, right? Even though she's on enemy territory, right? These are people that they do business with. So I'm thinking that she's going to get a fair shake. Now, Jonas was holding at every opportunity that she possibly could once she got into the middle part of the rounds. She was clearly running out of gas. If I'm Mikaela Mayer, I'm very, very disappointed. Right? Even though Mikaela Mayer felt like she won the Baumgartner fight, right? And I disagree with her wholeheartedly, but she's the fighter. She's supposed to believe in herself, and never do you admit defeat, right? So I'm not gonna hold it against her that she should clearly see in the replay when she watched it herself that she lost the fight, even though she's still advocating that she was the winner. I'm not gonna say, oh, now the shoe's on the other foot. And no. We don't rock like that, bruh. The truth is the truth, whether the fighter is delusional or not. And Mikaela Mayer should have left the UK with that motherfucking strap. Facts. Johnny Nelson felt like Jonas should have got the victory. But he says that, oh, if it was 3-minute rounds, Mikaela Mayer would have won the fight because she would have had more energy. Now, why would you say that, Johnny? Why would you say that Mikaela Mayer would have won the fight if it was a 3-minute round instead of a 2-minute round? Because she would have had more energy. Could it be that Jonas was running out of gas? Is that the reason why you said that, sir? And you could clearly see that Jonas, her punch output slowed down. She was unable to move like she was moving in the early parts of the rounds. And she was getting touched. She was getting outlanded. And she was doing all the holding. So, in your mind, you could surmise that if it was an extended fight, that she would have lost the fight, right? The rounds would have been more clearer. But you still edged it to her on a round-by-round basis. Whatever. This is an interview that I heard him jibber jabber and gave his analysis. Very biased commentator, by the way. He's always capping for the UK fighter. If there ever is an instance where it's an American versus UK fighter. Clarissa Shields. She's a United States world champion. And she gave her opinion. And she felt like Mikaela Mayer should have got the nod. And I'm in agreement. And I'm in agreement with her. For sure. Her opinion should be coveted, right? She is the premier women's boxer. She should be pound for pound on anybody's list. So, her opinion should be collected, analyzed, and computed. Now, Alicia Baumgartner had her opinion, and the only thing it seems like she tweeted was a bunch of yawning emojis. So, you're saying that the fight was boring, which it was not. And really, are you in the position right now to be throwing shade with the situation that you were in? You were cleared by the WBC, and it seems like the WBO followed suit. But right now, you're not in a position to throw shade at Mikaela Mayer. Because instead of you analyzing the fight, viewing the fight, and just giving your opinion, okay, I felt like homegirl won the fight, or I felt like homegirl lost, you're gonna give a indifferent view, right? And I rock with Bumgarner. I like her a lot. I think she has great boxing skills, right? But if you're gonna come off ignorant, if you're gonna come off dismissive, right? You're gonna carry this grudge on, right? With this woman that you shared the ring with, and you earned that victory, but you're not gonna be able to pull that to the side and give your honest opinion, whether it be negative on Mikaela Maye's part or positive, right? Too much negativity in the sport of boxing, man. Too many people have an axe to grind, right? This is like the endless soap opera, ladies and gentlemen. What's next for these ladies, man? I'm calling it a robbery, man. I'm not gonna sit on the fence with my nuts in between the prongs of the fence and my legs on one side, one leg on one side and the other leg on the other side. I'm not in the middle of this. I'm on one side. This shit was a robbery, bruh. Because you cannot be a competent fan of the sport and view it any other way. You can't. And I'm going to follow this episode up with an episode that shows the consequences of when you do not score fights the correct way. Because you can possibly have good fighters that have toiled in the sport that are now at the tail end of their careers, and they were unable to accomplish world champion status because in their shining moment they were screwed. Robbery. Mikaela Mayer is asking for this rematch. She didn't have a rematch clause. Jonas clearly had the rematch clause, which is understandable, right? She's the hometown fighter. Boxer was the promoter, and she's their fighter. So, of course, they will be smart on their part to negotiate a rematch clause on their side. And if they can omit and not have to put in for Mikaela Mayer, then they can move on. But I do feel like a rematch is in play because Jonas did not win the fight. And now, granted, right? I do believe that if you are going to take the champion strap, right? That you should take it from the champ. Take it. You have to take it, right? The victory has to be definitive. When Bernard Hopkins lost his undisputed crown to Jermaine Taylor by the slimmest of margins, and in my opinion, Bernard Hopkins won that fight by the slimmest of margins and lost his belt. So I do believe that you do have to take it from the champion because there is no way that Bernard Hopkins should have lost his undisputed middleweight crown that night against Jermaine Taylor. But this is not that situation, right? That fight was very, very close, right? It was so close that I watched that fight multiple times in slow motion and counted the punches landed. Legal shots, right? To the head, to the body. Not to the shoulder, not to the elbows. To the body, to the head. This was not that case. If I wouldn't even dare watch this fight in slow motion, because if I watch this fight in slow motion, I'm gonna be even more upset. So if I'm Jonas, I'm not rematching Mikaela Mayer unless the money's right. So are you gonna move on and possibly win more world titles with someone else? Go where the money's at, right? Because in reality, you should honor Mikaela Mayer's request for a rematch because you lost a fight. Come in better shape and win the fight, fair and square. But if you're gonna opt to move on, I'm not mad at you because you got away with one. And you might not get away with it again. Right? You might get exposed even more in the next fight. Now, even though my scorecard is indicating 7 rounds to 3, does not mean it was not a close fight. Does not mean it was not a good fight. It was a very good fight. Right? And the rounds were close. But if you don't have a bias, right? And I don't even want to tell you how small the wager was that I put on my betting app. It was a small wager because I didn't trust the judges in the UK to put enough money down for it to be a significant financial windfall for me. You feel me? So that was not the case. So to say that I'm biased because of I had coin on the bet, on the fight, is preposterous because it was not that significant. I would like to see the rematch. I would like people to get their heads out of their asses, right? And start scoring fights the way they're meant to be scored. Who is landing the more effective shots? Who is outlanding, period, right? Okay, if you're backpedaling, is your backpedaling effective, right? Are you countering majority of the time? Are you holding when it makes sense for you to hold, right? This person's getting close. I'm going to smother their shots. Not, oh, I'm holding because I'm tired and I'm getting hit, because that's what was happening. Now, Jonas, I love you, baby girl. I rock with you. But I gotta call a spade a spade. And fair is fair. I gotta rock with Mikaela Mayer on this one, even though I didn't rock with her on the Bumgarner decision. Same score, same result. Mikaela Mayer taking an L when she should have got a victory. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my take on this fight. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Mikaela Mayer, keep your head up, baby girl. Try to push for that rematch and get this shit back in blood. Go get her back on her home turf, because that's where the money's at, right? I don't think you bringing it here is gonna generate enough money for it to be worth it. Do the rematch there, and do it even more definitive. Wipe her out. Wipe her out 10 rounds to none. If that's what you have to do, right? Because you want the rematch, that's what you're probably gonna have to do. Because this was not a hard fight to score. Don't believe the hype. Eminent Sports Broadcasting. And I'm out. All right, y'all boys.